stories around the world to stories here at home. This is the National News Broadcast. A pleasant evening. I'm Dilanjali Ananda.
A very good evening. I'm Lakshitendra Singh, and with that we move on to take a look at the headlines for tonight. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa will be sworn in as Member of Parliament tomorrow. The Prime Minister says nobody will be allowed to destroy the national heritage. Inoculation of COVID vaccine on school teachers will commence on the 12th of this month. A joint agreement between the National Television and the National Radio. Superstar Dilip Kumar bids farewell from life, symbolizing the end of an era of Bollywood cinema. The Haiti president has been assassinated. On to those and other stories in detail. The Gazette notification appointing Mr. Basil Rajapaksa to the vacant Nationalist Member of Parliament position of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has been released by the Election Commission today. Mr. Rajapaksa is scheduled to be sworn in as a Cabinet Minister as well as a Member of Parliament tomorrow morning. A Nationalist MP position in the SLPP has fallen vacant with the resignation of member Jayantha Katagoda yesterday. Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayaka has informed the Election Commission on the vacancy. Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardena has officially informed the Parliament today on the resignation of Nationalist MP Jayantha Katagoda.
ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 66 ව්‍යවස්ථා ප්‍රකාරව පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී ගරු කැටගොඩ ගමගේ ජයන්ත පෙරේරා මහතා විසින් ධර්මයෙන් සිටි පාර්ලිමේන්තු ධූරයෙන් ඉල්ලා අස්වීමේ ලිපිය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මහලේකම්වරයා වෙත ලැබී ඇති බව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට දැනුම් දීමට කැමැත්තෙමි.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Sagara Kariyawasam has informed the Election Commission yesterday to appoint Mr. Basil Rajapaksa to the vacant MP position. The Election Commission, which met this morning, has decided to appoint Mr. Basil Rajapaksa to the vacant MP post. The Gazette notification has been issued according to this decision. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa has been appointed as a Member of Parliament for the third occasion. He is also the founder as well as the present national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. He has credited for performing a special task to resurrect the party within a short period, as well as informing a government with a two-thirds majority under the leadership of a strong president. Sergeant-at-Arms Narendra Fernando says that the 9th seat in the front benches of the government members has been reserved for Mr. Basil Rajapaksa. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa, issuing a media release, has extended his gratitude to the President, the Prime Minister, for inviting him to join Parliament, ministers representing the Cabinet, local government representations, all partners of the SLPP, social activists, including civil organization representatives, the beloved general public, as well as to Mr. Jayantha Katagoda, who has been generous enough to relinquish his Nationalist MP portfolio for paving the way for him to represent Parliament. Mr. Rajapaksa in his communique further points out that he will extend his maximum efforts without any conditions for the fulfillment of the common national aspirations and to further strengthen the untiring determination of the President and the Prime Minister for efficient management at this crucial moment. Meanwhile, a Bodhi Puja and a Deva Puja to extend blessings on the parliamentary re-emergence of Mr. Basil Rajapaksa was held at the Pilleva Viharasthani in Borlesgamo today. It was organized by the Podujana Shanti Karma Vedinge Sangame.
Minister S.M. Chandrasena says the opposition is afraid of the Parliament re-entry of Basil Rajapaksa as they have realized the services extended by the former Minister for the development of the country since year 2005. Opinions have been expressed on the re-emergence of Basil Rajapaksa at several media briefings today as well. Minister S.M. Chandrasena said that it is clear that a massive amount of work will be carried out with former Minister Basil Rajapaksa joining hands with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. He added that the opposition is engaged in efforts to prevent him entering the Parliament, but the minister said that their attempts will be thwarted. He further said that the joining of the trio is inevitable.
The Somavati Rajamaha Vihara in Polonnaruwa and the Riddhi Vihara in Kurunegala have been declared as archaeological research centers in parallel with the 131st Archaeology Day, which falls on today. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa have presided over the Archaeology Day commemoration ceremony at the temple trees. The President has handed over the Sannas Patra pertaining to the naming of the Archaeology Research Centre to Chief Incumbent of the Somavati Rajamahawihara, Venerable Pahamune Sri Sumangala Nayaka Thero, and also to the Chief Incumbent of the Kurunagala Riddhi Vihara, Venerable Tibbatuave Buddharakita Nayaka Thero. The new website of the Department of Archaeology was also added to the internet on this occasion. 14 newly published books of the Department of Archaeology were also presented to the President and the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has presented awards and certificates to the Thalkote Alutgedara generation of Sigiriya in recognition of the services rendered to the Department of Archaeology. Awards and certificates have also been presented by the President to O.R. Jayatilaka and Tanuja Darshani Amaratunga in appreciation of the new findings in archaeology. Souvenirs have also been handed over to the President and the Prime Minister on this occasion. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the Eastern Province is an area with the presence of a large number of archaeological places. He added that however these locations are being threatened with extinction. The Prime Minister has recalled that in certain eras, the rulers that came into power did nothing to prevent its destruction. Some have gone to the extent of even questioning what could be done from the archaeological sites. Therefore, concrete layers had covered monuments and walls were erected over them. The then leaders had remained with their eyes closed. The Prime Minister further said that, however, the people will never forget such incidents. He further said that they could not allow anybody to destroy places of archaeological importance. The government is engaged in untiring efforts day and night to safeguard archaeological sites. The Prime Minister also said that the President has visited such places and witnessed the destruction by himself. He has taken adequate measures to prevent further disintegration. As a result, a presidential task force has been formed. It was through the task force that steps have been taken to protect archaeological treasures such as the Muhudu Mahavihara even to this extent. Archaeological heritage does not belong to one racial or religious group. Therefore, they should be safeguarded disregarding any differences. State Minister Vidura Vikramanayake, Prime Minister's Secretary Gamini Senarath, Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs Professor Kapila Gunawardana, Director General of Archaeology Professor Anura Manatunga, and Secretary to the State Ministry KDR Nishanti have also participated in the event.
A 3-member High Court panel of judges has been named today to examine the case against former Defence Secretary Hemsri Fernando and former IGP Pooja Jayasundara. The bench has been appointed by Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya. The case has been filed against the respondents under 864 charges, including failing to take adequate measures to prevent the occurrence of the Easter Sunday terror attack despite receiving sufficient intelligence information. They have been accused of criminal negligence of duties and thereby aiding murder. The members of the 3-member panel is comprised of Justices Namal Balala, Aditya Patabandige and Mohammad Irshadeen. The Attorney General has made a request from the Chief Justice to investigate the case before a 3-member panel of High Court judges without a jury, taking into consideration the national importance of the case. The Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardana, says that the Ministry of Health will commence administering vaccination against COVID-19 to all teachers in government and private sector, principals and non-academic staff from the 12th of July.
Ministry of Health and the Department of Education, collaboration of College of Pediatricians, decided to give the vaccination for the teachers in government sector and private sector. The teachers with all the other staff which are engaged in school activities will be vaccinated in the respective MOH areas. The list of the teachers and the other staff members of the schools will be sent to the MOH area by the zonal directors. The MOH will arrange the nearest hospital within that MOH area for this vaccination. The age limit is above 18 years of all the teachers will be vaccinated when the vaccination process is started in that area. Now at the moment this has been started in the Western Province. First doses given in the other province also. It will take few weeks to complete all the vaccination for the teachers. When the teachers were fully vaccinated, we will be discussing to open up the schools after vaccinating the children who are having comorbidities with the help of of discussion with the College of Pediatricians. All these criteria will be announced in near future after the completing of teachers the first instances.
The Deputy Director of Health Services, Dr. Hemantha Herath, says that the Colombo Municipal Council has begun the inoculation program today to those who are in the age limit of 55 years to 70 years.
Colombo Municipal Council Health Department has already begun the vaccination with the Pfizer vaccine for those who have received the first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine and those who are above 55 years and below 70 years from today onward. In this regard, the Colombo Municipal Council has arranged a system where the eligible persons residing in the Colombo Municipal Council area will be informed about the date and time of vaccination on the day prior to the scheduled vaccination to each and every eligible person. This message will be coming in the form of a SMS, or those who are having given the mobile number, it will come as a SMS. Those who have given the fixed telephone number, they will give a telephone call. In case no number has been given or unable to contact, they will send a telegram to the respective address given to the health department of the municipal council at the time of receiving the first dose, and they will receive a telegram to that address. Then it is very important to emphasize that these messages will be coming only on the day prior to the scheduled day. So if anybody has not got the message up to now, be patient. They will be getting the messages just before or the day prior to the vaccination. Definitely all will be getting the vaccine. With regards to the concerns related to the Lambda variant of the COVID virus, the Ministry of Health and the government has taken many steps related to prevention of entry of new variants into the country. We have to adhere to all the health guidelines with regards to the quarantining and immigration related areas in the country. If it comes into the country and if it gets established, the best and the most important way to prevent the spread of such variant will be adhering to the health guidelines.
The Nanomehara Scholarship question paper set presented by the Education Division of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation was issued today. The Nanomehara, which has been subject to the appreciation of both teachers and students as a strong helping hand for the Grade 5 scholarship examination, is a special project of the national television. Chairman of the SLRC Reginald Curry and Director General Jayampathi Bandarahin Kenda have presided over the event to popularize the Nanomehara question paper sets for the year 2021. Nanomehara question papers are being prepared by a group of veteran teachers. They cover the entire syllabus. There is a strong demand for Nanomehara due to the presence of a large number of students who have established examination success due to using these question papers. It was for the 8th occasion these question paper sets have been formulated in parallel to the esteemed Nanomehara television program. The Nanomehara question paper sets could be purchased from branches of the MD Gunasena, Sarasavi and Samudra bookshops, as well as from the Minsara Potmedura in Gampaha, Sadipa bookshops, Sandron Bandaravilla and Sisumina bookshops. Director of the SLRC Education Program Division, Erin Vijayakon, academics engaged in the preparation of the Nanomehara question papers, sales managers of bookshops were also present at the ceremony. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Reginald Curry, said that the responsibility of the national television is to hand over the historic heritage to the future generation. In doing so, the image of the national television should be safeguarded. The national television is engaged in measures to fulfill social fairness.
අපි මේකේ සමාජ සාධාරණත්වය අද ඉෂ්ට කරනවා ජාතික නාලිකා මුදල් ඇති හැකි අයට ඔන්ලයින් ගන්න පුළුවන් අයට පමණක් වෙලා තියෙන දේ අපි ජනතා සන්තක කරන්න යනවා මේ දැනුම් සම්භාරය. මොකද ජාතික රූපවාහිනී නාලිකාව මගින් ඒ වගේම අමාත්‍යාංශය සමග එකතු වෙලා ඒක පළල් ජනගත කිරීමක් සඳහා අධ්‍යාපන වැඩපිළිවෙල සකස් කිරීම තමයි අපේ අරමුණ බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ලංකාවේ ගොඩක් මාධ්‍ය ආයතනවලින්
Director General of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Jayampathi Bandarahin said that many of the media institutions in Sri Lanka who are engaged in conducting seminars for students have been commercialized. He further said that it is the duty of the national channel not to become commercialized but to fulfill the national obligations. In the meantime, another batch of 50,000 doses of Russian-made Sputnik V vaccine was brought to the island today. Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardana says that these vaccines are to be utilized for the inoculation program in the Central Province. An aircraft of the Emirates Airlines carrying the stock of vaccines has arrived at the Katunayak airport around 12:25 a.m. today. It was transferred to the Central Vaccine Depot in Colombo today. Inoculation of the Pfizer vaccine as the second dose on those over the age of 55 years in the areas Colombo 1 to 15 who have received AstraZeneca as their first dose has commenced today. The event has taken place at locations Army Hospital in Narahempita, PD Sirisena Playground, Maligavatta, Ranjan Vijayaratnapura Community Hall in Roxy Garden, Mawatha in Vellavatta. 26,000 doses of Pfizer vaccines brought to the island recently are being used in this regard. All the recipients have been informed on the vaccination through SMS messages. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health requests members of families with persons over the age of 60 years to direct the older persons for inoculation, as somewhat decline in the number of persons over the age of 60 years arriving for vaccination has been witnessed. Minister Professor G.L. Piri says that the program to vaccinate school teachers throughout the island within a week will get underway on the 12th of this month. Accordingly, teachers, principals as well as non-academic staff will be inoculated. Meanwhile, Minister of Labour Nimal Siripala de Silva said in Parliament today that workers who are planning to migrate will be inoculated according to the recommendations of the countries they are hoping to arrive. $155,473 doses have been provided under the COVID-19 immunization program. Yesterday, 140,041 persons have been inoculated with the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine yesterday. The number of persons who have received the second dose of the same vaccine yesterday was 15,365. 67 persons have been inoculated with the second dose of the Covishield vaccine yesterday. A total of 4,528,948 doses of vaccines have been administered so far. Within the last 7 days alone, 835,871 doses of the vaccine have been delivered. The number of vaccines inoculated on the 30th of June has been 73,520. This was the highest number of vaccines inoculated in a single day. Residents in Athidia North who have not received the COVID immunization vaccine have been given the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine today. Minister Basil Rajapaksa has inspected the vaccination program at the Athidia Maternal and Children Clinic. State Minister Chandajaya Sumana has inspected the vaccination program at the Diathowina premises in Battaramulla. 678 COVID-19 patients were detected from the country today. Meanwhile, 1,470 patients left the hospitals today following recovery. "322 persons have been arrested on charges of violating health guidelines during the 24 hours that ended at 6 a.m. today. 48,244 have been taken into custody. Minister Basil Rajapaksa has presided over the distribution of dry food items to 150 low-income families in Nadimala, Dehiwala and Bellantota today.
Back at home, a 10 rupee commemoration coin released in connection with the 65th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between the government of Sri Lanka and the People's Republic of China, and also the 100th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party, was presented to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The presentation has been made by Governor of Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Professor W.D. Lakshman, at the President's office yesterday. The coin has been minted to depict the long-standing bilateral friendship and mutual relationship between Sri Lanka and China. On one side of the coin appears the national flags of the two countries along with the scene of Nelum Pokuna Mahinda Rajapaksa Theatre. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has delivered a special address at virtual summit organized in connection with the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party of the People's Republic of China. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that they are aware that it was the stability of the foreign policy of the Chinese Communist Party that has raised China in the global stage. He added that China has never attempted to force its political opinion on another group. Unlike other countries, China has no need to regularize activities of other countries. The Prime Minister further said that China has always assisted other countries with a feeling friendship. Therefore, many countries, including Sri Lanka, have no hesitation to engage in dealings with China. Doors of many countries have been opened to China due to its impartial status. There is no need for the world to continuously remain divided into camps. China has done a yeoman's service to countries divided into two camps.
මේ බෙදීම නිසා ආසියානු අප්‍රිකානු රටවල් මුහුණ දී තිබූ දුෂ්කරතාවලින් මුදා ගන්න විශාල ඓතිහාසික මෙහෙවරක් චීනය ඉටු කළා. ලෝකයේ කවුරුරු දෙකකට බෙදීම නිසා අපහසුතාවලට මුහුණ දීපු ලෝකයට උදව් කළේ චීනයයි. එදා චෝවෙන් ලායි නොමෙන්දි ජාතින් පිළිබඳ අදහස ලෝකයට දුන්නේ ලෝක සහනය වෙනුවෙන්. එදාට වගේම අදටත් ඒ නොමැදි ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ලෝකයට සහනයක්. ඒ වගේම සයිනෝෆාම් එන්නත නිපදවලා ඒ ලෝකයට නොමසරුව පරිත්‍යාග කිරීම පිළිබඳව චීනයට අපගේ ස්තුතිය පළ කරනවා. ඒ ලෝකයත් සමග බෙදා ගැනීමේදී කොමියුනිස්ට් පක්ෂය ලෝකයට ආදර්ශයක් ලබා දුන්න බව මම කියන්න ඕනේ. මේ වසංගතය හමුවේ ලෝක සෞඛ්‍ය සංවිධානයට තිබුණු ආදර්ශ පාඨය තමයි ඇති නැති පරතරයෙන් තොරව සියලු දෙනා වෙත එන්නත ලබා දිය යුතුයි කියන එක. ඒ විතරක් නොවේ චීනය සොයාගන්ත එන්නත අපි වගේ රටවල් වලට නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න අවශ්‍ය අවසරය ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේ ලෝක වසංගතයකදී චීන කොමියුනිස්ට් පක්ෂය මුල් වෙලා ගත් තීන්දුව මානව යහපත වෙනුවෙන් ගත් තීන්දුව ලෙස විශාල ගෞරවයක් ඒ සඳහා හිමි වෙනවා.
The book titled The Pearl of the Silk Route, authored to highlight the 6 years of progress of the Chinese Cultural Centre in Sri Lanka, was presented to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday. Director of the Cultural Centre, Lewin Yu, has handed over the book to the Prime Minister. The book has been compiled by Lewin Yu along with Shamra Ranmadala. The book gives an extensive description on the tasks of the Chinese Cultural Centre in the past 6 years. This was the first Chinese Cultural Centre in South Asia. The centre was declared open on the 16th of September 2014 by the then President Mahinda Rajapaksa and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Mr. Lewin Yu, who has functioned in the post of director of the centre since its inauguration, is scheduled to return to his motherland upon completion of his service period. Now bringing the global update of the COVID pandemic, countries throughout Asia-Pacific from South Korea to Australia have been hit by a rise in coronavirus infections as the Delta variant threatens a new wave of the pandemic, even in the region renowned for tackling of a virus with a high degree of success. Novel coronavirus has infected more than 185 million people and killed more than 4 million. And with that, we go for the foreign break.
And that's all the stories for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Until then, stay safe and good night.
Good night.